What's the,
The one at the last, it was a little rough in the beginning, I guess. All the rich people, and then by the end of it, I guess it was good. It was like 20.
North Whatcom Commissioner meeting for July 2023 will be starting soon.
Everett or Linwood, where were they? Put that on.
You broke it.
Imagine being.
We're right.
We're on?
We're on.
Okay, good morning. It's 11 a.m. and this is the District 21 regular Board of Commissioners meeting for July 20th. And I will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, roll call. I'm Bruce Ansell.
John Crawford. Scott Fisher.
Don Ward.
Joel Nielsen.
Kimberly McMurray.
Matt Rickberg.
All right, thank you, everyone. Any public comment?
No.
All right, we'll open the Volunteer Pension Board meeting at 11:02. We have the approval of the June 15th minutes. Is there a motion to approve?
So approved.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous. And then we have a couple of pension eligibility issues. One is for Craig Bruner, 11 years. He is going to request a lump sum settlement of $4,334.27. So we will need a motion to approve that pension settlement.
To approve.
Okay.
Discussion, Chief, anything? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Next is Brendan Walter, 15 years, City of Blaine, District 13, District 39 in King County. And he is going to request a pension contribution of $70 per month. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Anything else before the Volunteer Pension Board?
No, sir.
All right, I will close the Volunteer Pension Board meeting at 11:04 and open the regular Board of Commissioners meeting. The first item on the agenda is the approval of the consent agenda, which includes the meeting minutes of June 15th, staff reports, financial reports, voucher, payroll, benefits. Total revenue for June was $843,386.34. The total expenditures for July was $1,022,244.85. North Whatcom employee direct deposit payroll, $370,203.15. Payroll taxes, $84,591.24. Benefits voucher, $315,362.17. We have June monthly expenditure additional voucher that was a correction to a couple of the staff credit cards for $1,645.98. And then the monthly expenditure vouchers for July, $120,892.43. Capital projects apparatus, $120,139.28. Capital projects, $9,228.44. And volunteer fund, $182.16. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Any discussion? Do you have anything from your chief's report?
I recognize that not from the chief's report specifically. Actually, I do. In addition to my chief's report, our probationary firefighters that get off probation August 1st are working their way through their final pump testing and scenarios. They're doing great. We're about 3/5 of the way through. Just left one this morning talking to firefighter Budway about completing his. So Probies are doing well. Last night we had the District 4, one of the first Q&A sessions, kind of the final outreach before August 1st. It went well, very lightly attended. According to District 4's PR person, that's a good sign when they're lightly attended in this case. So continue to move forward with that. And then just wanted to hit real quick, is there any questions about what I wrote about the GEMT interim settlement? That was kind of a confusing paragraph to write. We've seen through transport revenue, we've seen an uptick in transport revenue, and that's because we're taking interim payments on what we should be getting for GEMT funds throughout the year, basically monthly. I've attended a couple seminars or webinars, went to a couple classes at the Chiefs Conference, talked to Chief Hoffman specifically at District 7 and Systems Design, who does our billing. And there are 13 more states trying to opt into the GEMT program. The state of Washington now has 4 or 5 years experience with it. There could be some legislative or rule changes to it. So at their advisement, we're going to dial back our interim settlements to $1,000 over our transport cost, which will hopefully cause us to get a larger lump sum in the spring, which was kind of the traditional way that GEMT started. So next year you'll see we'll budget for a lower amount of transport revenue on a monthly basis, expecting to get a higher GEMT check. We just don't want to owe the feds any money. So that's the reason for doing that. So it's like trying to dial your W-2 in, right, without having all the information. So.
All right. Can you comment on, I noticed our call volume for the first 5 days of July was significant, and how the 4th of July may have impacted our responses?
I think we did 138 calls in the first really 96 hours of July. And I shouldn't say we, the firefighters did it. We did have, in those days, we had 4 fires. One was fatality, one was injury severe enough that they were airlifted to Harborview. These are separate incidents. We had the number of structure fires. We did not have any significant firework injuries, but we did have a significant number of concurrent calls. And the best example I have of concurrent calls was the night of the 4th of July. We had a fire on the east side of the district that affected one of the someone that is associated with the district, and their first arriving fire apparatus was from Ferndale, because we were dealing with 2 other simultaneous incidents at the same time. One was a brush fire that was obviously started by fireworks. It was a multi-spot brush fire. And the third incident was a significant vehicle accident that it took 2 engine companies about an hour to extricate the patient mechanically. And then they were airlifted on top of that. So it was a very busy period of time. The crews stepped up. I want to thank you, and I don't know if you will chime in or not, but we did staff up those days. As I told you, in June, we were able to staff the first aid booth in Blaine for the 4th of July. That was a great thing. But it's been busy again. You know, it goes through phases. I wouldn't say that an overwhelming majority of the calls were due to fireworks or anything like that. It was just beautiful weather. A lot of people. Canada Day was July 1st, which is a Saturday, and then you had the 4th of July on Tuesday, and it was just a perfect storm.
Chief, if I may, did we respond to calls at the 4th of July event in Blaine?
Fireworks or at?
For the actual city-sponsored event?
We did not actually end up responding to any calls at the city-sponsored event, no.
Okay.
No, the parade went off without a hitch.
Very loud motorcycles there, or something, very loud.
Was there?
My son made me take him. It was
Okay.
loud.
We
Yeah.
all stayed back.
Yeah. I was right up front.
Yeah. So, yeah, and then, and I'm not aware of any calls that happened during the
Okay.
fireworks itself. So no fires as a result of the fireworks, the city sponsored fireworks.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions, comments about the consent agenda? All in favor? Unanimous. Commissioner meeting reports. Did you go ahead?
I went to the All County. Went to the All County. We're still waiting on a state representative. All the,
For the fire commissioner.
for the fire commissioners, yeah. We have a regional commissioner that usually attends our meetings. We still haven't got one in place, so we're waiting on that.
Is that because it doesn't exist or it's just not showing up?
They haven't found a replacement for that position at this time. All the representatives, north, south, east and west, are gonna get together to revamp the policies and procedures that are in place for the board. We've been trying to do this since the start of the year. Now we're kind of nailing it down when everybody can get together and go over those. Those are 14 years old, so they need to be updated.
And you are participating in it?
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's just about it.
Well, I want to put a shout out to the union and to firefighter Kat Stewart for the joint breakfast with the sheriff's office. She was so organized and had such great leadership skills, and Dan and I had the privilege of helping with the setup and the serving and the cleanup, and it was a very successful event, I felt. And she and firefighter Bowen also did a great job at the pancake feed last weekend. Very organized, thought of everything. There was a big team of people there to help with before, during, and after. And in my book, it was a very successful event as well. Dan and I had our smoke alarms and talked to people about is their house covered, and we had one lady sign up to have smoke alarms installed. And the fire safety house had lots of kids coming through it, and our probies did a great job there too of teaching them the basics of fire safety. And I want to thank Commissioner Crawford too for power washing station 63, and it looks great. Or 69, sorry, I do know ours. Yeah, I apologize. Wrong station. It was in my head right, but it came out my mouth wrong. And my grant writing's coming along really well. And I took a ICS 100 class, and it was simultaneous with the missing submersible. So it was great.
Oh, wow.
It was great to see that in action and play out. The Navy and the Coast Guard and France and Canada and oceanographers all coming together and using all the terminology of what they were talking about in the course.
Nice.
So it was a nice joint happening. I also had the privilege of meeting Chief Watson, Assistant Chief Watson out of Linden, and gleaned some of her FEMA grant writing experience. So that was really good. And I've also been asked from her, they're trying to start a Whatcom County Community Risk Reduction Coalition. So Chief and I are going to attend a meeting to see if that's something North Whatcom should be a part of. And it's a lot happening.
Thank you.
And we had a fire.
I'm feeling like I'm not doing anything.
And we had a personal fire. And we're
Yeah.
thankful for the fire department.
Yeah.
That's
4th of July.
nice. Any surplus hose you might want to have laying around the house? Matt, did you attend?
Yeah, I went to the city council meeting on the 10th. That was fantastic.
Uh-huh.
A lot of impassioned individuals
Yes.
talking about the moratorium in trailer park and right now that stands. I think that at some point in time, we will see significant expansion in East Blaine and significant population density increase. I think the pressure will become too great and the city will eventually allow things to change or make things change. I believe it's inevitable. So for now, there's a 6-month reprieve of having to think about it, but that's coming. And then to piggyback on top of that, I met with some executive staff from the Bellingham Police Department and discussed some commercial expansion that's coming our way too. And I guess an unknown entity is providing anecdotally a significant influx of money for the development of Blaine. I don't know if you've heard anything about that. I have not. So I am intrigued by that. That may go along the lines with some of the things that the city's looking at in terms of increasing the height restrictions along the west side of Peace Portal. I don't know. But all I see is growth in the future unless we have another COVID event that shuts everything down again. And I rescued a seal pup, which was very exciting. Has nothing to do with the city of Blaine, but with the volunteer work that I did with Noah. And the city's fireworks were great, but they did scare some seal pups. And I got to transport one in my car, which was very exciting.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's what I have, Bruce.
Excellent. You reminded me of an issue, a pending issue, and I don't mean to put you guys on the spot here, but the height issue for buildings in Blaine. Do we have any clout in that? It intrigues me that they're talking about the mitigation issues for those builders, like park benches and fountains and sidewalks. And I'm thinking, how about ladder trucks and manpower and things that actually can respond to those new higher buildings that require way more than 3 people to climb to the 4th or 5th or 6th floor or whatever? Is there?
We had Deputy Fire Marshal Nielsen and I had a brief conversation about that. And were you comfortable answering more technical?
I mean,
Just width of the street and the ability of setbacks and things like that. You know, all that.
Or do we have any clout to say, yeah, we'd really love to have you have higher buildings here, but we need another fire engine or another.
What we need is another ladder truck.
Well, maybe one that's of current age, but anyway.
I've mentioned it during some of the meetings, you know, that the building height, we don't have a ladder currently here at the station. We do have one at Birch Bay though, but it's a long way to get it here.
And it can't cross the bridge.
It
that
cannot
they're
cross the bridge for sure,
inspecting
100% cannot cross it. Yeah, and they've considered it, but they're still talking about increasing the height of buildings in certain areas.
So, for those of you who attend the Blaine council meetings, I would like it to be made public and clear that the fire district, unless I'm speaking out of line here, has concerns about this new height adjustments. All for it. Hey, let's develop downtown, but we have to be able to protect it.
Well, the recommendation I would have then is that has to come from the chief and fire inspection and have them present something as a letter saying, this is our stance
Right.
on the
But I
development.
mean, if you have the casual opportunity to provide comment like, hey, wow, these new higher buildings really sound great, but we don't have the manpower equipment to respond to them.
If there's a format that it can be presented in, because I would be speaking unintelligently about that if I were to try to present. I would be happy to present it to council.
Well, I don't know that I want you to present it. It's just sort of, you know, just kind of mention in passing like, hey,
even a casual, yeah, I'm happy to go and present something like that as a casual statement, but I still want to make sure I say it appropriately. So maybe some guidance would be appreciated.
I had a meeting scheduled with the city manager that ended up just because both our schedules got canceled due to a last minute event. So that's going to get rescheduled. And well, I was hoping to put out an olive branch because I think we got off on the wrong foot with the TIF. I will bring up the ladder truck.
Well, I mean, I'm sorry, but I think.
No, you're right.
Anything that has money attached to it is gonna be a bad subject, right?
Yes. Yep.
But.
So I will bring it up during that meeting. And I just anecdotally, I guess I happened to attend a city council meeting where several speakers talked about the height restriction or loosening of the height restrictions. And if I believe if we think that the mobile home issue has been contentious, I think that's minor compared to
Oh, it is.
building 3 or 4 stories on the west side of Peace Portal. There was a marked opposition to that, very vocal, to any sort of blocking of the view for for the common person, and that we, and they pointed to White Rock and said, "Do you see how White Rock, all their tall buildings are in the center,
Right.
where you can still enjoy the view, but so can everyone else."
Not the front,
Right.
not the front row.
Not the front row.
And there's another potential issue for the fire department on the horizon as well with the medical plaza that's being put in down near the Jack in the Box, if you're not familiar with that.
Family Care Network.
Oh, okay.
So if they have x-ray machines, CT, anything that generates radiation, there'll be hazmat exposure potential.
Right.
So I don't know how close our response is for that either. So those are things to
It's a
consider.
county co-op, the county team, all out of it. But yeah, to get the team up and running, you can imagine.
Pretty far
It
away.
takes a while to assemble the crew. So
That's another consideration. I mean, these are good problems, I guess, to have. But
right, development's good.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you everyone for all of your extracurricular meeting attendance. Local 106.
Thanks for having me again. Yeah, some of the things have already been touched on, like Chief Vanderbeek was saying. We have some probationary firefighters coming to the end of their first year. It sounds like everything's going well. They've all put in a ton of work. They're doing great. We've got some good hires. So, and then like as Commissioner Murray was saying, huge shout out to Kat and Cody, Chris and Keegan. They've all put on a lot of the sheriff breakfast, pancake feed. Keegan did the bike rodeo. All of these things that were successful. And we've just been pounding the District 4 levy, a lot of public interaction. Not typically an optimistic person, but I'm actually hopeful for the D4 levy. So, yeah, we're coming to the finish line.
Thank you. And I know it's been said, we repeat it every meeting or so, but the amount of workload and response that the crews have been doing is unbelievable. And hopefully everyone knows that we're still trying to find ways to get more staffing and more equipment and better stations and all that kind of stuff. But it's your crews that have to bear that burden, and we do appreciate all of the efforts that they do.
Thank you.
Legal issues, Chief, anything?
The only thing that I have reached out to Mr. Davis for that I'd really like to discuss is I need to talk to him about an old District 4 issue. There's a Station 13, which is off East Smith Road. At the time, he represented District 4 as legal counsel. There's either an easement or they sold some property to a cell phone company. Well, now somebody's placed a lien against against Station 13 for work that was done on the cell phone tower. And they've named District 4 as that's who they placed the lien against. So I'm working with District 4's attorney currently to clean it up, but I need some information. I need more history that I can find in either electronic or paper files about what transpired with that property. So I've asked Mr. Davis if we could have a phone call. So it will be kind of on behalf of District 4, but it's probably going to take some legal, some time. I use, yeah, I'm not sure how to clean it up, other than maybe.
Do we know what year we're talking that easement was granted?
It would be like 2018, 2019.
I kind of vaguely remember Chief Burnett talking about that.
So do I. And when I read the paperwork we have, I can vaguely recollect a little more. And I think that District 4's legal, Mr. Quinn, Eric Quinn, we have a good, District 4 is not going to lose any money in the deal. We just need some more details.
Right. They were compensated for that access to put that tower in, if I remember correctly.
If I remember correctly, yes. And it's just, was it a sale of the property? Was it a sale of an easement? What was it exactly? I can't find anything. District 4 tended to be pretty good about record keeping, but I'm coming up zeros on this. We've searched through paper files. Jenny and I have looked through electronic files. We've looked through board minutes.
Is there anything recorded by county?
That would be my next spot. So basically just for 2 minutes, I guess, District 4 does not benefit from that tower at all. There's no payment. There's no monthly payment from American Tower. So what they've done, or what we've done, is sent a letter to the person that placed the lien on the property saying that we're not a party to this. We don't have any financial interest in the tower. We gain nothing financially from the tower. And if you'd like to go to court, we're happy to go to court. But in the state of Washington, we can ask for attorney's fees plus staff time for making this mess.
It's an out-of-state company that
it is, yeah. So would you like to pull your lien back and go after the person that's actually involved here? So that's the tactic we're taking right now.
All right. Unfinished business, District 4. Kind of heard most of it.
I think you've heard most of it.
The pancake breakfast went off. All of the community gatherings have been informative, I'm assuming. I feel that there's way more momentum this time than there was previously, and I think part of that is because COVID is over and people can actually get together. So fingers, toes, everything else crossed that this thing goes.
There's one more Q&A session on Saturday, and after that,
well, the ballots have been mailed.
Ballots have been delivered.
People are probably already voting.
they're due on Tuesday of the week after next. So I think we've done what we could do.
And this is a simple 50+1. There's no validation or anything. It's just if 5 people show up and 3 vote yes, it's go.
Yes, sir.
All right.
I think more than 5 people.
Yeah. I'm just being optimistic. It's hard to fill out that ballot and put it in the free delivery section of the mail. Birch Bay Station 63 Phase 1 request for qualifications. If everyone remembers correctly, we had to backtrack a little bit and per our legal recommendations go out for an make sure RFQ, and
when we posted it, it was like somebody turned a faucet on. We posted it in the Linden Tribune for one day, and I had 13 inquiries. So
it's over.
So and unfortunately we didn't get it. There's a little passing of the website portion of it, and that's why I got so many inquiries for it. So I was emailing them out And I don't know how many have gone through the website now because it's posted on the website now. So I've had one more inquiry. It's Carletti Brothers or Carletti Associates. They're the ones that built this station. And that's pretty much what they do is they do a lot of fire stations around the state. And he's been really the only one that's come back and said he'll be submitting one. So they've got until August 4th. Is it 6th or 4th? It's next week anyway, or following week, to have the proposal to us. And then at which point we'll be sitting down and reviewing what their recommendations are and which one we want to decide we're going to go with. So.
Well, it's encouraging that people are looking for work again.
Yeah, very much so. And yeah, most of the inquiries that I got were from architectural firms that have built fire stations. So it's not like we're getting, somebody this is their first one. So.
All right. So what's the closing date? What is there a deadline?
There is. I believe I thought it was the 4th
Of August.
of August.
Okay. So by next meeting,
Correct.
Yes,
we will have something to choose from, or just a report,
you'll have something to choose from.
or a recommendation for us to choose from.
Yeah.
So that can go on the agenda, as well as D4. Okay, we tabled these next two items until we, I think, got them separated into two different resolutions. And that is the authorization to join the Blaine Chamber of Commerce, Resolution 2023-04. Awesome. And we don't know what the cost of that one is?
Yes.
Oh, we do? Okay.
It is $410
Per year?
per year.
Wow. And Birch Bay is 75.
75. Blaine just updated their fees. And what I got from Birch Bay is that their dues will increase next year or to follow Blaine.
So, is there a motion to approve Resolution 2023-04 to join the Blaine Chamber of Commerce?
So moved.
Discussion? None?
If I,
Sir, yes.
we've been building a relationship with the Blaine Chamber. We're on the book, or at the end of the month here, Blaine does something called the Splash Days, which actually talking to Chief Hollander, former Chief Hollander, he kind of actually started it. The city got some hose and appliances from the fire district, and then somehow the link between the city and the fire department got severed, and the fire department's not really been involved in it. We're gonna fix that at the end of the month here and start going back and doing that. They were over the moon pleased with the fact that we were there on the 4th of July with a first aid booth. I would not say that anybody was begrudgingly went, but there was a little bit of, oh man, first aid booth. And the two individuals that went had a blast and made recommendations about how we could make it fun and better for the public, not so much for them, but how we can make it more engaging for the public and do a better job of selling ourselves. This is just in a very short period of time. It's been, I would say, a fruitful relationship. They're very excited to have us on board.
Good.
Who will attend their meetings?
I will.
Okay.
All right. So we have a motion, it's been seconded, it's been discussed. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Thank you, Chief, for following through on that. And then we have Resolution 2023-05, authorization to join Birch Bay Chamber, which currently is $75 per year. Is there a motion for Resolution 2023-05?
So moved.
Moved and
Seconded.
seconded. Any discussion on this one?
Same
Same
thing,
thing.
just, Chief Aaronholtz and I went out and picked up garbage on the 5th. You know, it's just getting out there, and we got lots of thank yous, and I think somebody tagged us on Facebook, picking up trash, and, just, it's an easy way to get out in the community. It's an easy way to support the community, make some connections, network, and I think we know that will become increasingly important over the next couple of years.
All right. Anyone else? Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous.
Thank you for splitting those. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
5.5 tons of garbage were picked up. The most ever.
I had a hard time understanding how that much can accumulate. That's
come
just
out,
a ton.
Come out and watch.
It's like a war zone.
It's just mortars.
It's pretty gross.
Yeah. 3 30-yard dumpsters full.
Good.
And people, for the most part, just leave it after they explode. Or they try to burn it up, and as Chief shared, that a lot of those mortars are made out of, or the tubes are made
Cardboard.
out of non-flammable material, and so even though they're in the little bonfires, they're just now charcoal tubes.
Yep.
There's a grassroots push to significantly limit when fireworks can be deployed. I'm sure you've seen that next door. Lots of people are engaged in that conversation.
In what area?
Birch Bay.
Oh, nice. About time.
Well, 5.5 tons is a tad unreasonable. Really, any is. 5.5
Yeah.
tons, I just can't even fathom.
I know, seriously.
That's a lot of people not caring. That's what that is. Very sad.
Yes. Anyway. And thank you, Chief and Chief Aaronholtz, for coming to my neighborhood and picking up trash. Because I had a former engagement, and
Did the Facebook photo make its way to the NWFRS website?
I don't think it was a photo. I think it was just a comment.
Aye.
Somebody saw us out there picking up stuff.
all right, any other unfinished business? New business apparatus purchasing plan.
We've had a bit of a problem. The tenders that we ordered 2022.
Yep.
Were supposedly model year 2024. We've basically been asked, we're told, 2026. There's no chassis. They can't give us any idea of when. We asked about switching from international or from international to Freightliner. We got the same, no, it's not going to happen. This is just my personal opinion. What's that?
Discounted price at all?
Well, there's been no, oh, we'll lop off 50K per, nothing. It's just, this is the deal. I am starting to wonder, and Chief Ward as well, if Rev Group just got in over their head. So we've done some research, and I'll let Chief Ward, are you?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
We reached out to Hughes Northwest, so Pierce. We also reached out to Cascade Fire, who sells Fouts. Fouts Brothers is producing tenders, imagine. But they're using a Western Star cabin chassis. Western Star is used real heavily in the mining side of things, so they still build really heavy duty, well built cabin chassis. They've got two that Cascade bought 3 tenders from Fouts. One's already been taken. They've got 2 that they have secured for themselves. They're not going to be sold to anybody else besides Cascade. Our plan is right now is to go and head over to Yakima and take a look at them and see if they're.
I would add, it's actually not us that's going to look at them. We're taking a tender driver and one of the firefighters, actually a lieutenant, to go. So the operators are going to go look at them.
Is our lead in our apparatus committee. So the three of us will go over there and take a look at it.
So these are built for sale.
They are built for sale. They are about 99% of our spec already that we already have in with Spartan. There's not really a lot of differences to them. They're wet-sided tanks, so meaning that they just set the tank down on the frame and bolt it down. There's no metal around the frame or around the tank, so it's a poly tank. If it's an option and the guys, especially the tender operator, likes the way it functions for them, we may move to that direction and cancel our order with Spartan. It just may be the need for us over their delay. I've got a couple fingers in the fire as far as looking for cabin chassis that we might be able to purchase ourselves. And if we can find, a couple cabin chassis that we can send that way that we are able to locate, that's another option. So, we're trying to keep every option open as far as what's out there. We don't want to go and just buy a tender just because it's there. We want to make sure that it's going to meet our needs. It's a 3,000 gallon tender. It's the same basic spec that we are currently using, so that we're not deviating from what we're moving to for the future. We want to try and keep the consistency and continuity of the rigs so that we're not getting a one-off here and a one-off there. Even a different cabin chassis can create its own troubles as far as functionality, turning radius, transmission, rear end, functionality as far as that goes. But that's where we're at on the tenders. So the engine's still in process. We didn't hear anything delay on that. That's still expected for next year, just building time. The aid car is the other one that we ran into some hiccups with, and that is Road Rescue is telling us 3 years before we're going to get a cabin chassis. Again, we've reached out to other vendors. One, we haven't heard anything. We've been promised a spec, and we haven't heard anything back. So Chiefs reached out to their sales manager, and we'll be dealing with that one probably later on today as far as another email to them. And then we've also reached out to Hughes, who sells Lifeline, and they're telling us that best case scenario, if we are able to jump on the gambit quick, we might be able to get a chassis in 120 days. If we can't do that, they're only saying 1 year to get a cabin chassis. So, it's, like Chief said, it makes me feel a little bit like Rev Group got a little over their head as far as things, and they're scrambling to try and keep things in line, and they're behind in some respects, and they're really using the cabin chassis excuse to its full.
Well, it seems strange that if other people can get cab and chassis and they can't for 4 years, there's something going on.
Something's going on. I
Didn't pay a bill.
And it is one of those things where Road Rescue and Wheeled Coach are in the same facility. They work side by side with each other. Well, if you look at who Rev Group's biggest ambulance purchaser is, it's FDNY. So when you've got us sitting down there with one ambulance and FDNY comes in and says, we need 300 ambulances, I'm not a businessman, but I would say that that's pushing us down the line.
Priority list.
Yeah. So, we'll work with it as best we can, and we'll come up with a solution, and we'll bring that solution to you. I'm meeting with the rep from Hughes next Wednesday. We're going to go over our spec, and we'll have a number from them Hopefully, again, by the next meeting, and if we move forward with them, we'll bring the recommendation as well.
So if we cancel the contract, are we gonna eat any of that money by canceling
We
the
have a
contract?
performance.
We have a performance bond with them, so that's a requirement with anything that we purchase is a performance bond. So,
Because of the prepayment, we did a performance bond, so we'll get all our money back.
and they're already past their due date, so I don't think it'll be an issue. So, or we'll just let legal deal with it.
Okay, and so the new ones, price-wise, my understanding is it might be a little bit more.
Yeah.
But if you factor in 2 or 4 years of maintenance on things that can barely make it down the road, we're probably more than recoup that.
And the other thing, if we also look at ordering them today versus when we ordered them in 22, the price is probably really close to what we'd be paying anyway, just from increased costs and that. So, and it's
Right, but I mean, it's trying to mentally process this is like, oh my gosh, now we have to pay more for them, but we spend a lot of money on maintenance. Not that these won't require some, but I would
No, they'll-
expect that they'd be significantly less.
We'll be getting some 30-year-old rigs off
Yeah,
the road, which is key.
very good. Thank you for your report and time and frustration and, yeah, sorry, nothing's easy. IT,
We had talked earlier in the year about going out for bids for IT services, just looking and seeing where we're at in the market. Our IT provider, Oasis, was in between that time was bought by a company called Kelly Connect, which is, I'd say like a Western regional.
West Coast.
Yeah, West Coast company. It's bigger, which means it has more resources, but sometimes it's not always better. So what we did was Chief Ward, well, I should say we, but Chief Ward reached out to 3 different IT companies. One is, 2 are smaller and local. And then we reached out to Kelly Connect and asked them for a bid for what we currently have. And if you could upgrade the system or should upgrade the system, what should we do? What should we focus on? Chief Ward worked for hours and hours and days with each of the 3 companies to refine it and get them so it was an apples to apples comparison. And what we came down with was that we got 3 solid bids. The technical data, the technical part of it, I'll have Chief Ward talk about. But when we look at the liability to the district and the strength of our IT system, continuing our contract with Kelly Connect is the best option. It is not the cheapest option, but it is the best option for what they can offer us, the security, the guarantees, or the resources that they have available if we were to be what is the
Ransomware.
ransomware. If we were to get locked down or locked out and couldn't process payroll or couldn't, the resources that they have available to them are exponentially above what these other smaller companies have available. There's holes in each company provides a great product for what they do, but for the number of employees we have, for the access that our employees have to the internet during their working hours, what Kelly Connect provides, like I said, limits the liability to the district, keeps our system secure, and does provide the best coverage of those 3 companies. If you have technical questions, I'll open the floor to Chief Ward. He's way more techie than I am, could explain better about some of the things, the things they made recommendations that we can cut costs by cutting hardware and moving things to the cloud that the other companies didn't. They just kind of said, just keep plowing through and buying $40,000 servers every 5 years and filling them up kind of thing. Whereas Kelly Connect thought about doing some atypical things that will, they're not free, but they're lower cost than the way we've been doing business. So.
The only information I could share is when I went to the conference in Spokane, they talked about the department getting hacked. Or was that the one in Tulalip?
That was the one in
Yeah,
Tulalip. They spent a
Tulalip,
lot of
and
time.
the amount of time and effort they spent trying to undo what happened, they said, buy the best you can, because it was horrible for them. It was over Christmas break, I think,
Right.
and
Locked
it
down for a
just
month.
shut everything down. And they were a much larger department than us, and so I appreciate that you did the research, and trust that you guys have looked at all the gory details and have chosen a plan that is going to best serve the district.
Well, we're gonna upgrade firewalls. Firewalls will be upgraded this year. And part of that reason, they were already gonna be upgraded. But they're upgrading to a different line now that's more robust, has a different layering system in it that makes the firewall more difficult to even punch through. It's a firewall that a lot of the government, I don't want to say the government agencies because they're always in trouble too, but the government agencies are using now because of the level of encryption and the level of the wall is, that if you want to use that term, the thickness of the wall. They're also going to be moving into a cybersecurity program next year. It's a little more cost than we really wanted to spend this year, so we'll be moving that into the budget for next year. But that will give us even more level of protection. That covers even more in-depth ransomware, malware protection, anything that if something does get through the system. This is a company that has a legitimate cybersecurity team that jumps into your system right away, and it's 30 people that come into your system, and they're the guys that go in there and type the X's, O's, dots, and squiggly things that make it to where this ransomware doesn't even affect us. And that's where a lot of companies have failed in the past, is that ransomware is protected to a certain degree, but somebody can still hack into it. And that. So cybersecurity's, we've got an insurance policy now that we have to have for cybersecurity costs. This is just another level of protection to make sure that if anything ever happens, we've got that strength and protection. Chief alluded to cloud-based servers. That's the direction we'll be going. We've got 2 servers that are on their last life. We've updated them as much as we can. We've put warranties on them through the rest of this year to replace them. Yeah, $40,000. You've got all that mechanical and electronic movement inside them. So moving us to the cloud gives us a backup that happens every 20 minutes. So the system is fresh, within 20 minutes of it. So if something does happen, they can shut a server down, move us back 20 minutes, and we're back up and running. It's literally that fast. It's not something that's going to require a technician to come in, reboot a system, and it's a full operational system. Some of the backups only operate where they back up files or certain levels of the server. This is a full server backup to where, like I said, if something happens, they can go back 20 minutes and we're back up and running. It's that quick. So that was a lot of what we were looking at as far as the practical things to move into for next year. And like Commissioner Ansel said, this is one of those things that it's a hard dollar and hard pill to bite off on to pay, but you pay for what you get with this stuff anymore.
With the cloud data, are we paying for our own rights to our data that's being held in their cloud? How does that work?
It's part of the package that we pay, and yeah, we pay into having our data stored on a cloud.
So if we 10 years from now elect to move to a different security company, what happens to our data? Do we have to buy that from
No,
them?
all that data it's our data, we're just storing it there.
Okay.
So any data that we store, or any information we have, if we move to another company, all that data goes over.
We always maintain the
We
rights
always
to our
maintain it.
stuff.
There's nothing that we lose as far as the data that we control.
Storage fee, we still,
Oh yeah, we pay a storage fee.
but I'm
It's
saying-
not free.
But I'm saying if we don't pay it, we still get the information out.
Yeah, I mean, once it's ours, they're still obligated to release it to us. There may be a cost to it if we don't pay for it.
Okay.
But, it's our data. But, they can't hold it ransom.
They can't ransom the
They can't
amount.
ransom our system.
Thank you for all that work, Chief.
Thank you.
All right, next item I'm going to add, with your permission, board's permission. There is a member of the Birch Bay community that I would like to recognize for their participation and activities for many, many years. This person no longer lives in Birch Bay, has moved actually to Linden, but I floated this idea to the Birch Bay Chamber, and they thought it was a wonderful idea. We're working on an honorary chief's plaque for this person. I really don't want to mention the name yet, but I guess my request from the board is to move forward with a resolution for our next meeting to honor this person, and then they would be also honored in the parade for Birch Bay Discovery Days, I think, in August. And we're probably looking for like a small red convertible to drive that person through the parade, and if anyone knows anyone
No,
who
a
has
chauffeur.
one.
I have a connection with the chauffeur.
Anyway, so if you guys are okay with that, we've got one of our members of the department has made a helmet shield, and we're going to put it on a plaque and present that at the next meeting with a recognition resolution.
Absolutely.
And then that individual would be honored at the parade as Grand Marshal of the
Nice.
That's great.
huge Birch Bay Community Parade.
When's the parade?
Discovery Days are like August, will be last weekend in August, or hang on here. I want to say 26th, August 26th. And they are moving it to, I think, 10 o'clock this year. They've historically done it at noon, but I think, yeah, they're doing it at 10. Anyway, I know someone who has a green convertible, but I think red would be way nicer. What?
Why the time change?
Just thought it would be better for the overall daily activities to wake people up in the morning.
Can we put some hose and ladders on?
Absolutely. I'm sure we have ones that will fit. All right. Correspondence was in your packet. Several structure fires. We had the GMT news and the newsletter that came out. Next meeting in August, I know that Commissioner Crawford and I both are unavailable for the 17th. So is there a chance we can move that meeting to potentially the 24th? Or whatever works better for you guys, Chief? I don't know, is the 22nd a better day, or you're gone regardless?
Pretty much, yeah.
When you come back?
I might come back the 26th or 27th. I have to be back before the 29th.
Oh, you got to drive bus. All right. How are people's calendars in August after the 17th looking?
Good.
Wasn't the 22nd when D4 has their meeting?
No, they're Monday, aren't they? 21?
The 24th works for me.
It's just
I
timing.
might be back. Talking 22nd,
22 or 24?
no later than the 24th. No later than the 24th.
That's a timing issue with the calendar.
And 22 is no good for me.
23,
22 and 23, I'm in training both days.
but 24 we can do, or?
Yeah, we can do it. No later than the 24th.
No, absolutely not. 24 works for Matt?
Yep.
Kimberly?
Yes.
Me?
You're going.
Scott?
Yeah.
I'll put it in for the 24th.
You'll be,
I don't know.
you'll be bored.
So,
You'll
so
work.
you don't know, Commissioner Crawford, you don't know for sure if you'll be
He's,
here?
he's waffling.
Okay. Not a problem.
I'm trying to strong arm him over here. Where are you going?
Let's see.
Oh, yeah. We'll work.
I don't know.
Are you riding your bike?
Tornadoes.
Oh, yeah, you may.
Same time?
Okay, agenda items, Jenny, we already got the D4 issue, Station 63, Phase 1, apparatus purchasing plan, the resolution recognition. Anything else? All right. Executive session. Chief, we have the need for an executive session for RTW 42.30.110 subsection G to evaluate the qualifications of an applicant for public employment or to review the performance of a public employee. How much time do we need for that?
10 minutes, I promise. No more. I was going to say 5, but I knew you wouldn't believe me, so I just made it 10.
Always good. It's 12:04. We'll go ahead and adjourn to executive session. Are we going to take any action after
No
executive session? Okay. And we need yourself and the board
And Chief Ward.
and Chief Ward. All right. Double. I should have just said 20 and let it get.
I knew what you meant.
Whenever you're ready.
I'll give you the finger. The almighty finger. We're still showing executive on that. Okay, we're back.
All right, after a brief break and the executive session, there's no further business before this board. Anyone else have any needs, comments? We need to sign documents, and I will move to adjourn the meeting at 12:29. All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned, thank you.